This is the new Panasonic MZ980, the perfect gaming TV for next-generation consoles with a 4K 120Hz OLED panel, providing superior image quality with a Game Extreme mode that reduces input lag and motion blur, with features such as variable refresh rate and auto low latency mode. This video is sponsored by Panasonic. They have sent out the TV, and there is a link down below in the description where you can check out the full feature lists for more detail.
So I'm pretty excited to be checking out this new television from Panasonic. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you'll know how much I absolutely love OLED panels, both from the picture quality standpoint and also some of the modern features they have with like HDMI 2.1 and all that type of stuff for next generation gaming. Now this particular TV from Panasonic I think is going to resolve a few issues that I've had in the past with other OLED TVs. The user interface on this thing looks very simple, just fast and straight to the point for just literally booting up your apps. There's no distractions, no nonsense there when it comes to those aspects, but also the game mode features are definitely going to elevate the overall gaming experience, and it's definitely orientated specifically around pairing this with something like an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5, and I think it'll be an absolute pleasure to use with those next-gen consoles.
Inside the box, accessories were fairly straightforward. Obviously, you've got your controller, along with the included stand that was very easy to go ahead and fit, and I could just do it all on my own. I didn't need anybody to help me. I must also give props to Panasonic for the packaging. It was quite minimal and didn't make a huge mess within my bedroom. Now, we will be doing some gameplay tests within this video on the TV, and it's awesome to see that Panasonic are the chosen TV partner for Diablo IV, and they've worked together on picture quality to enhance the gameplay, which we'll be able to see later on in the video when we jump into the game.
But first things first, let's actually get this thing unboxed and set up. Now, I've actually opted for the 42-inch version of this display because it's going to give me a degree of flexibility because I'm using this predominantly within my bedroom. I didn't want to go too big. This is available in 48-inch and also 55-inch variations, which are all perfect sweet spots for a decent-sized living room. But the 42-inch version will potentially allow us to use this as a computer monitor with my gaming PC if I ever wanted to change the layout of the bedroom. You know, I didn't want to maybe use it for console gaming, I actually wanted to put it on my desk just in front of me here. And I'll talk more about this later on in the video, but that's because of some of the PC gaming specific features this display has, which includes a G-Sync and also AMD FreeSync. But there are actually some other advantages to using an OLED panel as a computer monitor, and that's for productivity. So if you do anything like photo editing or video editing and you like to color grade your footage and you want to ensure that it is as accurate as possible, so when the viewer watches it on their phone, the TV, the tablet, it actually looks how you intended it to, OLED is by far one of the best color accurate displays you can go for because of its insane contrast and black levels, like the perfect blacks that you get when you are messing about with all the different hue, saturation, vibrance, all that type of thing. It makes your job so much easier. And I've actually used OLED panels for multiple years as reference displays for all of our YouTube videos before we actually post them on the internet. So a super cool feature surrounding the game modes that I want to show you is the control bar. Inside of here, you can tweak things such as the auto low latency mode, variable refresh rate, make sure you've got that enabled or disabled depending on what you want. You can obviously change things like the HDR tone mapping, the black levels, so very useful for FPS shooters so you can see enemies hiding away in the shadows. Super easy interface to navigate. Now the way that you access this control bar is actually within a designated app, but you can actually assign it to a shortcut on the remote control. This is the My Apps button, and the way that you set this up is very straightforward. You literally click the My Apps button. This will take you into the interface where you can basically assign any app that you wish. Scroll down and click Option on the app that you want to assign, which is obviously the control game bar, and then it's super easy to then access the game bar. You literally just click the My Apps button and it'll just appear. You can go ahead, tweak whatever you like, create different presets, and then exit out.
In terms of inputs and outputs, this TV I think is quite well equipped. You've got two HDMI 2.1 ports, one of which supports eARC for any fancy soundbars. And then you have an additional further two more HDMI ports, which are just a standard 2.0 connection. This is ideal for things like a TV box or a past generation console like a PS4 or Xbox One. Furthermore, there are also multiple USB connections at the rear of the TV, which is very useful if you like adding light strips to your gaming setup. You can just power them directly from these USB ports on the TV, and it even tells you what the maximum voltage is for each of these connection types.
So we're just going through the setup process of the TV right now. It's just doing a firmware update, the latest apps and so on. Very simple to set up. Huge fan of the fact that you don't need to create a Panasonic account to then obviously access the store and all that type of stuff. Literally just accepted the T's and C's. No need for me to enter an email address. Then it just did the update process. So that was super seamless. Right, so this is what I wanted to talk about earlier in regards to the menu system. So you just literally press the home button on the controller and it'll boot up the sort of quick bar, pretty standard stuff for a smart TV. Whereas the difference is here, it isn't full of advertisements. On other smart televisions, I've gone ahead and you try and use the built-in OS system to go about booting up your apps, say Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever you want to access. And the problem is you can't navigate it easily because it's just rammed with like adverts for different movies, different things on the App Store, just stuff you're really not interested in. Whereas with this Panasonic telly, it's just an interface for boosting up your apps. It's perfect. Just press the home button, go ahead, quick launch all of your apps. You can also go down and edit the position of these apps if you want to move like YouTube towards the front, for example, if you regularly watch that more than maybe Netflix, as well as boot into sort of the main app dashboard, which will show you all of the stuff you also have installed on this TV that isn't necessarily on the quick bar menu for your easy access that you may want to conveniently watch and use all of the time. So we've now got the Xbox connected to the Panasonic TV. I've just got it thrown at the end of the bed with like a super casual sort of gaming setup, laying back, chilling out. Works quite well actually. But it's super great to see that every single display setting on the Xbox Series X is pretty much supported. We can game in HDR10, we can also game in Dolby Vision as well. Plus, of course, it's got the most important settings for a next generation console, which is 4K 120Hz refresh rate support. Some other key details to be aware of is the 10-bit color and also the 422 color space. It's just going to give you the best color reproductions, like just going to look really vibrant and saturated. It's going to look fantastic. And one of the coolest features is actually with the controller for the TV. So if you just literally press the info button, it will show you the current resolution that the telly is displaying at, plus also the refresh rates. That lets you know if you are gaming at 4K 60Hz, 4K 30Hz, or 4K 120, so you know what your Xbox is actually outputting. And if you then press and hold this information button, it will then reveal even more nerdy stats, if you're interested in those, for what the TV is actually doing in relation to the ALM, the auto low latency mode and things like that that's actually activated. Now, overall brightness on this display seems to be fantastic. It's a very sunny sort of winter's day here. We're sort of like midday now, so we've got the sun streaming right in, and normally at this time of day, especially with panels that have got a glossy display, very difficult to use them. Whereas this, with the HDR turned on, more than bright enough, and also I believe there is a slight anti-reflecting coating on the screen, which is definitely helping just preserve that image quality at this time of the day when you usually can't see anything at all. But the actual brightness looks great. We're just about to jump into a game of Diablo IV, which has a lot of contrast, which really showcases the OLED technology, because you've got a lot of dark areas and also brighter areas with beautiful colors. So this is holding up well so far during the day. So I've actually had this TV now for well over a week and I've been testing out. Now the performance of the internal speakers has surprised me. They do a good job. They've also got like an AI technology that sort of detects dialogue and different elements within the sound to sort of enhance them at the appropriate moments within either gameplay or movies and so on. But what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to upgrade to a soundbar, because I think that's like the ultimate experience. Obviously this TV supports eARC, which is fantastic for Dolby Atmos. So I've went ahead and I did purchase this soundbar off of Amazon, an official Panasonic Dolby Atmos soundbar. Now this will integrate perfectly with the TV because obviously it's the same brand, so it'll mean it'll be super easy to set up. We also won't need to configure any additional controllers because the soundbar does come with a bunch of accessories. Comes with a controller for obviously controlling it if you were using it with a different brand TV, and also it has a bunch of wall mounting accessories, which is super convenient. We're just going to literally place it on the TV stand and throw it straight into the telly and use the remote control that's included with our TV, and that'll just control all of the elements of the soundbar, which is super easy.
One of the key features of this soundbar is the HDMI 2.1 pass-through. This is huge because it means you will not lose HDMI 2 for the eARC features. And we will still be able to connect a console to the soundbar and pass through that image into the television. So we will still be able to preserve having two HDMI 2.1 ports for connecting both an Xbox and a PlayStation simultaneously.
So I've now got the Panasonic TV set up as a computer monitor. It seems to be working okay. So if you put the TV in game mode, you want to make sure that you basically switch out the picture mode from standard to game mode. This will reduce the input latency significantly, so the mouse feels incredibly responsive. Now I think the 42 inch is a brilliant size for actually using on the desk here. It doesn't feel too overwhelming or big, and we get all my tiles nicely like basically split up into 4 different sections, especially with Windows 11 because of how it snaps different tiles to different screens. It's basically equivalent to having 4 1080p displays sort of rocking here. Now, if you are planning on connecting a PC to this Panasonic television, you will be pleased to know that it has both G-Sync compatibility and also AMD FreeSync support. Inside of this PC right here, I have an AMD GPU, so that's pretty good.
Overall, I'm very impressed with the Panasonic MZ980. The image quality is fantastic and the game features are so easy to use. I love the fact that all of the different game modes just automatically trigger as soon as the television detects a game console connected to the panel. This is great if you're not very tech savvy, but also if you don't want to waste time constantly checking the settings to make sure that the game modes are on. It's very clever how it operates via the HDMI CC, making it a pleasure to use for the consumer. If you want to learn more about the MZ980, you can check out the link in the video description for all of the details. But as always, I've been Ben Rowlands. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.